of the Acolyte breaks down and details this story of two twins who are often confused about what happened. And you're finding out the mystery of these mystery twins, May and Osha. And now they continue after the blazing episode 5 comes Chimera, the Sith, as he reveals himself to the Jedi. Now, the Council doesn't know that this mission is even taking place. Only people that know are the ones that are around. Like Vestra, who seems to be in charge, is making sure that the the Republic doesn't know what's happening. She's doing her best to cover this up. It's a political situation, but in this episode, you can see she's sending out a search party to find out what's going on after a distress call is going down, as May has disguised herself as Osha, and Quimir has taken Osha, the real Osha, with him to his planet, where it looks like he lives, he stays, and this planet has that metal in it from his suit, where his helmet is and what it's made of, Cortortis. Now, Cortortis is a metal that normally shorts out lightsabers and was used in the comic books, and they basically put it into lore. And Quimir's character seems to be one of a Sith who was formerly trained by a Jedi, who might have actually been a Sith member who turned on Quimir and actually attacked him and thrown him out like he was trash. Once that happened and transpired, he plotted his revenge. And in plotting said revenge, he wanted to build his own. As his Jedi Master and his Sith Master both turned on him, he decided it was best to have no master and be his own master. But he needed the right people, the power of two. Now, a lot of people believe that this said person Right, this said person who said all of these different activities and put them all into play. There's a lot of things at the forefront here. A lot of things that just quite frankly didn't make a lot of sense. But if you start to put the story together and piece it out, you start to see that Quimir is probably Darth Plagueis himself, or he's got Darth Plagueis can control his mind. But this series shown people that when people's minds are under controlled by something, their eyes go black. As you can see from the trailers, when we finally find out what happened on the planet, we saw the Wookiee Kanaka go crazy and started swinging his lightsaber around. Well, different situations, different results. No, it's quite the opposite, to be honest. You've had a lot of different media outlets who just live to bash the film because that's what they love to do. That's the new motto now, just bash everything. So that's usually first, second, and third reply. Let's just bash everything. Now, it's been quite noted, duly noted, that the people that's been engaged in these conflicts, or what you would like to say, recent incidents that have plagued the masses, are those who don't quite understand the direction in which this series is going. You got all these right-wing people fighting, and even when the episodes are good, they finding a reason to hate on it. Now they want to hate the fact that the guy got naked and got in the water. And in Star Wars lore, that shouldn't be. Han Solo never got naked in front of Leia. We never saw Leia take her clothes off. She didn't need to. We don't know how she got dressed in that outfit. Now, here's where things get a little tricky. Now, the general consensus always change. You have people who update their profiles about a situation. The show decided to make changes that suited a lot of things that a lot of people vocalized that they had issues with before. But the water could be a healing property based on the fact that he says it was a long time ago when he was a Jedi, which means he could be much older than what his age indicates. He looks young, but the water that he's in could preserve his youth. Now, with the said story that has been transpiring, and the people that are just outside not understanding, yes, they got a gratuitous shot of him showing off his muscles, but it was also to show the scars on his back. So she could see the scars, we could see the scars, start putting 2 to 2 together. As when one of those little giant bugs came and get Vestra or Venestra, when she was out there and it showed she had her whip lightsaber. Then we look at the scar on his back. Looked like he got that from a whiplash Looked like she whipped his back to kind of give us a clue that this was her Padawan or apprentice. Well, Vanessa, is she a dark side user? Maybe she saw what he was and decided to dispel him, or he challenged her and she thought she had killed him, and now he comes back. Or she's a Sith. Who has a Sith name. There is a Sith with a yellow lightsaber whip. So, I mean, it could open up a big door, but if Darth Plagueis the Wise shows up, that would make up for a lot that's going on here. And we could see where that 180 million went. So this was a dialogue episode. As you saw and heard all the dialogue being used and spread it around early in the episode with Soul and May, and she's trying to pretend to still be Osha, and he's, I gotta tell you what happened that night, but this is it. It's like, dude, spill it. And I don't know how many times people are gonna get knocked out by this little ray gun, this little stun gun. That stun gun has been overused in this series. I mean, in a lightsaber battle, the stun gun was used about 3 to 4 times in a lightsaber battle. It's like, do you know? You don't. These are Jedi Knights. Why are Jedis, people, Force users, why are you overusing the stun gun? Well, I'm quite sure we're going to see it. We're probably going to see how it unfolds and why she turned on Quimir. Which will further push Osha more to the dark side. Once she realized, hey, they've been lying to me. Once she figures that out, that they've been lying to her, these issues are going to manifest and become and grow into a bigger problem that's going to be more explained and expelled as time goes on and as this series goes on. I don't really know, because there's so many people who don't understand or get it right now. They're like fighting against themselves, fighting to try to understand what the said scenario is, or the plot or the plan. Now, ritually, other people would get involved, and there would be some type of standard code that was genuinely in the way. And it was usually up to the townspeople to make that type of, that type of reveal. I never understood why people would pursue so hard to try to take away what others have been building on. Like with this saga. Like, I guess they're happy, with the direction everything is going. So they're cool with it. But I'm not cool with tearing something down for political reasons. Now, I'm not okay with the forces female crap and all that. Like, they can keep all that to the side, Make a great show. Then we will follow it. Now, this was more introspective because the show and the way it played out essentially drew you into the characters to give you more in-depth information, which they could have done in the first 2 episodes. But they kind of wasted a lot of time with a lot of cat and mouse stuff that meant nothing. Forcing dialogue with Jackie and Osha, and it's like, she was my friend. I'm like, you've known her for like 25 minutes. They spent one half of the time trying to arrest you. Then this whole thing of it was you and not your sister was wiped out within less than 2 episodes. So that didn't really stick. And the fact that you had an identical twin who was kept off the records and no mention of her. Well, Tobin decided to do what he wanted to do and take it to the next level. When you start talking next level or advancing or moving the needle, when you start having those kind of conversations, that's when it gets dangerous. Things get spooky when you start having dangerous conversations like that. Yeah. The more they try to push back or change a narrative, the more we start to see division. The more we start to see we're getting further away from what we need to get to. It's been a lot of cheesy dialogue. Pacing has been great though. But when she pulled that lightsaber out, it looked like the toy. Like it's like, man, they put no CGI effect on the lightsaber. when she ignited it and put it towards Kymir's throat. And Quamir knows that she won't do it. Even though he wants her to tap into that darkness. Like Master Soul has a lot of anger in him. A lot of dark stuff that he's repressing and fighting to keep away. But he was getting ready to assassinate Quamir, even attacking him from behind. Right, on a journey and a walk to do this task that the master wants her to do when he was going on this quest. He started to figure out one thing that was clear. How her character just comes to this whole switch just on a walk and just make a whole 180 turn to I'm turning myself into the Jedi was a far, far stretch. You know, so a lot of people saw that as like, really? Y'all pulling that? You know, rather than, oh, that's amazing. That's pretty good. No one was thinking like that. Now, when we start looking at massive amounts of energy being used and people being pulled together to collectively come up with a plan for something, people have a lot of ideas that's on the table that's not usually abundant for situations such as this. Now, no, that's not what she meant on Burndok when she said she failed. What she meant is the quest that they gave her, or whatever the thing was, she failed. And then when she failed, because she was already in training before she left the Jedi. So she didn't fail there. She had a test and she failed. But Vanestra, or whoever was there while she was training, didn't want her there. They didn't want her there at all. So like they thought she wasn't ready to be a Jedi. As Vanestra told her, she was too old. When they had the conversation in I think the first 2 episodes, she was like, I told you about training her and she was too old and she had too many connections. So Vanestra was one who wasn't really keen on her being a Jedi anyway. Soul was pushing the envelope. A lot of core Star Wars fans are upset because this kind of taints with the lore of Anakin being special. And that's one rule of canon. You don't taper with things you don't understand. Yeah, she failed. She had a test and she failed. And because she failed, she quit. So whatever her mission and assignment was, they pushed her out. She was being pushed out, so she walked away. She gave up. Because Soul wanted her, but the other masters didn't. Her thoughts would betray her. She would go mostly to the dark side. All right, just got my early walk in. Yeah, it's not as humid as, all right, so it's good time. Oh, that's not my, this. When people say there's so much going on, it's normally the truth. So much going on that one don't have time to take everything in. People do the best they can. Now, it's 2 episodes left. They got a lot of ground to cover. Now, I hope they're not trying to make a love story with Osha and Quiet Chimere. Because if that's a love story, then Jesus Christ. This is the worst. This is worse than Rey and Kylo Ren. It's like, what? That came out of nowhere. It's like Disney need to stop trying to do this. Give it back to George Lucas if they're gonna make this a love story. Anyway, that's my breakdown, episode 6. We're gonna see how it plays out now that she's tried on the helmet and see if she likes it. I'm out.